about ready to go over there? Okay. She wasn't prepared to tape it, and that was why it never taken a little longer. Can everybody hear me okay? These things, you never know if they're going to work, or if you're going to get feedback, or you'll echo, or all of that. Okay, yeah, I have been gone from the States since September. And I spent 3 weeks in New Zealand doing classes there. And then I've been over here now, I guess about 3 weeks, because I did the class in Melbourne. And then I came up here. I will be the middle of November before I get back. Then I have to go again as soon as I get back. So I think I have a week off when I get there. It'll be December before I really am home for a while. No more traveling then until February. But I do go all over the world now, and I'm teaching my technique everywhere. But some of you, I know a lot of you took my class. We had a large class. And a lot of the people here are from the class. I recognize a lot of you. Is there anybody here who doesn't know what I do? What my work is all about? Well, there's a few. Okay, because I know people have the idea that I channel, and I don't channel. Some of them think I channel or that I'm a psychic. I don't do that. I'm a therapist. And what I do is past life therapy, past life research, really, past life regression. And you have pollen in here, I think, because my nose has been running. So pardon me if I have to keep wiping it. There's something in the air here, I think. Okay. Anyway, I do past life therapy. And I've been doing hypnosis for 40 years. I started a long, long time ago. Back in the old days when everything was simple, watch the shiny object type thing. You know, they don't do that anymore except on TV and in the movies. It's not used anymore. But I started that way 40 years ago, and then I got involved in reincarnation totally by accident, if anything is ever an accident. And that started me on this path. But it was 30 years ago that I went into past life regression exclusively. And I began doing that and finding out the great value of therapy that was there. Because I found that the majority of the problems people have don't stem from this life. They go back to other lifetimes. And so that was what I was doing, was taking people back into the other lifetimes to find the answers to the problems in this lifetime. And as I did it for 30 years, I discovered my own technique. I found a way to access the subconscious mind. I take the person into the deepest possible level of trance, which is a somnambulistic level. And the other hypnotist schools always say, you don't want to go near that level because strange things happen there. Well, those of you who read my books, you know strange things happen there. But that's where all the answers are, and that's where all the help is. And that's why I've learned how to access that. And with the technique I've developed over the past 30 years, we can have instant healings of anything. And that's what's remarkable. We can have the instant healings, and we can help the person with their problems, and it only takes one session. And that's what I've been teaching in my class that I just finished. Because you make yourself sick. The ideal state of the body should be perfect health. We make ourselves sick. And if the mind is that powerful that we can make ourselves sick, we can also cure ourselves. Once you find out why did I do this to myself? Why did I make myself sick? Why did I do this? And I have lots of people coming to me who are getting ready to have operations. And we find out why they put themselves in that position. They don't have to have the surgery. So that's what I've been teaching for this whole weekend, was my class on how to do this, how to contact that part of the mind. It's a very powerful part of the mind that we can do great wonders with it. And I'm now teaching this all over the world. I taught it last year to a group of doctors in Moscow. And they're saying this is the therapy of the future. And I've done it in India and all over the world. Next year I'll be in South America and China. So it keeps spreading and spreading. It's the idea that we can take control of our own lives. We don't have to depend upon the medical profession that puts Band-Aids on things. We can do it ourselves once you understand why you make yourself sick, and you can maintain perfect health that way. So that's what I've been doing exclusively for the last 30 years. And I have a little office in a little town in Huntsville, Arkansas. And when I'm home, that's where I see clients, and they come there from all over the world. It's amazing, this little bitty town in the middle of nowhere. But when I'm traveling, I see clients, but I can't see as many because I'm on the road. But when I'm back home, that's where I do the majority of my work, when I'm not doing everything else that I'm involved with. But anyway, the subject we're going to be speaking about tonight is life after death. The book that I wrote, we had a problem. This book, we're trying to get it here. This is the American version. I've written 14 books on all of my adventures in hypnosis, all of the things I've found, all the things I've discovered. Because in my work, I don't just have one topic. I have gone through every phase of the paranormal you could think of. And later, when we get to questions, if you don't want to just ask questions about life after death, you can ask about anything you want. Because I have such a great curiosity, I want to know everything. And that's why I keep writing more and more books. I said, I don't channel, but I'm the reporter. The reporter, the researcher, the investigator of lost knowledge. So that's what I focus on. What has either never been known or has been forgotten. So that's why I've written 14 books, and I'm writing more. There's a new one supposed to come out when I get back. I have it with me on this trip. It's the third book of the Convoluted Universe. Everybody keeps saying, when's that book going to come out? But anyway, this is the American version, Between Death and Life. And we're not allowed to sell it here because they have an English company who has the rights to Australia and England, Ireland, and Canada. So when I contacted them, they're supposed to have it here. They told me months ago they only had 120 copies. It's a different cover. So if you see it in the bookstore, it's got a pink cover. And so we tried to get it here, and they said they only had 120 copies left. They sent all they had, and they won't going to be reprinting. It won't be available again in the stores until December. Maybe it'll be in time for Christmas. So I brought a case of these with me, and I sold most of them in New Zealand. So that's the only one I have left. And I asked Patricia, should I put it out? And I know it's the only one. But you're going to say, well, where's the one she's talking about? But I call it Between Death and Life. And people always say, isn't that wrong? Shouldn't it be between life and death? Can you see the difference? There's a whole world outside of this world. Between death and life is the whole world that you live after you leave this one before you come back into another life. That's why I call it Between Death and Life. It's a whole different thing out there. So anyway, when I was doing all of this research and all of the hypnosis, I've done thousands and thousands of people. When I wrote this book, I was exploring life after death. Now I don't need to because I've already done it. I focus on the therapy. But I began finding out everybody was saying the same thing. When you go to a hypnotist for a past life regression, in order to do it correctly, they should always take you through the entire lifetime, the past lifetime, and through the death experience. This is the way it should be done. A lot of them won't do it because they're afraid. What happens if I take the person through the death experience and something happens to the body here? That's what they're afraid of until they tell there are people taking their classes, don't do it. It does not happen. It cannot happen. It cannot affect this physical body at all. I've had people die under every possible circumstance you could think of. You know, heads chopped off, burned at the stake, all the numerous wars that man has done down through time. And my book, A Soul Remembers Hiroshima, I had someone who died in the atomic bomb. So I know if what I have done does not harm this body, there's no way you can do it. So what I've done in my work, I always take the person through the entire lifetime and through the death experience. So after that, when they leave the body and they're going to the other side, I found all of them were saying the same thing. They were all describing the death experience the same way. They were always just all describing what the body felt like. And they were all describing the same places on the other side where they went. So if you have that many people saying the same thing over and over again, you know it's valid. And that's what I like to do in my work, is to have the validity of the same things repeated again and again. Even when I'm doing my research into earth mysteries and things that we don't know about, I want to ask the same people, the same questions over and over with all my subjects. We get the same answer, we're on the right track. But they all describe it the same way. And believe me, you've all done it hundreds and hundreds of times. You've all died. You've been through every possible life you can imagine. Each and every one of us have had hundreds and hundreds of past lives. You've all died. You've all gone to the other side. You've seen what it was like over there, and you've all come back again, because this is a school. Earth is a school. You come here to learn lessons. They say it's a challenging planet. It's a difficult planet. And you come to this school mostly to learn emotions and limitations. Those things don't exist on other planets. This is a very unusual planet, very difficult planet to live on, because you come here to learn emotions and limitations. But as a school, it's a school where you can't skip a grade, but you can have to take the grade over again. If you don't get it right the first time, you're going to have to do it again the next time. You don't get out of it. Have to come back and do it again. This is what karma is involved with. I'll be explaining that as we go along. But so it's very important to understand that. But they say, it's all right. You don't have to get it right, everything. You don't have to do everything in one life. We pile too much on us. We try to do too much. We try to take on too much karma. We'll say, I'm going back, I'm going to get it all done at one time. It's not advisable. And I'll be explaining who they are, they advise you, and they'll say, it's not a good idea. You're going to take on too much. It's like going to college and taking too many classes, and you don't allow any free time, no extracurricular activity. You soon burn out, and you're so much that you can't handle it. So they say it's advisable to just do what you can. Don't worry about the rest. You can always come back the next time and work those parts out. There's always a next time. We want to get to the point that we don't have to keep coming back again and again. We can get it all finished and stay over there. But as long as you keep making mistakes and creating karma, you're going to have to come back and do it again. And there's no blame in it at all. It's not. You just say, well, I did what I could, and that's it. There is no hell. There is no hell. If I've done thousands of people and they all reported the same thing, I know where I'm talking about. Hell was invented by the church. You probably know that. But there is no hell. There's nothing but goodness, positive. It's all wonderful. Once we understand that, we won't be so fearful. I have a daughter who worked in intensive care for 20 years. She said the saddest thing was when she was working with these older people. And there'd be an old woman in there who's dying in fear, because she said, I've lived a good life, but I wasn't perfect. And the church says if I wasn't perfect, I'm going to hell. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's expected to be perfect. The only one who was perfect was crucified. You're not expected to be. But look what that's doing. It's making a perfectly good person who has lived her life the best way she can die in fear. So that's why I wanted to write this book, so people would know when I'm doing the lectures, there's nothing to be afraid of. You're not going to be sent somewhere to burn forever. You know, as most of us are parents, if your child does something wrong, are you going to throw them in the oven? No, you help them. No matter how bad it gets, even if they go to prison, you're still there for them. You want to help them. So why should the creator of everybody be any different? They'll give you every chance you can, again and again and again and again. It's up to you what you make of it and what you do with it. Stop blaming something over there that it isn't there at all. Okay, well, I'm going to start at the beginning of what it feels like when you die and where you go, and then we'll try to go step by step. And I'll leave some time at the end for you to ask some questions. Some questions are difficult, and I'm going to wait on those until somebody brings them up. But I've found the answer to just about everything I think you would want to know. And that's what the important thing is. Take the fear out of this. Okay. Now, when someone dies, the majority of the time, and even in my work, the majority of the time is just an ordinary death. Old age or illness, and they die in a hospital bed or home. Of course, when I'm in other lives.